Are you planning your own wedding? Are you stuck for styling ideas? Feeling a little overwhelmed? Then this is the podcast for you. I'm your host and wedding planner, Vanessa from the Wedding and Event Creators, and I'm here to bring you practical hints and tips to kickstart your wedding planning. You're listening to the South Coast Wedding Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our DIY wedding checklist. It can be found on our website, www.weddingandeventcreators.com.au/blog. Let's get wedding planning. Today I'm sitting here with the beautiful Megan from Makeup by Megan. So I'd like to introduce her onto today's podcast. How are you going?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on board. So Megan is basically the master in that lightweight, luminous, sort of natural makeup look. So you can jump on her Instagram and see what I mean. Now, you've got about 15 years of experience or so that you've been working in this industry and also running your own business. So tell us a little bit about your business, and also I know that you've been featured in quite a few amazing magazines, blogs, editorials, things like that. So I'd love to hear a little bit about those too.
Okay. I have been in business 15 years. I started not knowing what area of makeup I wanted to specialize in. So I did all of my training and started in bridal because I knew I wanted to do that, but I also loved editorial as well. So I spent 5 or 6 years stalking and assisting Ray Morris and Rachel Montgomery, who are the country's leading makeup artists.
Yes, they are. Wow.
Yeah, and assisting pretty much involves going to all of their shoots. You're doing it for free, so you've got to be really keen and passionate. And it involves, to start off with, it's things like getting coffee and washing brushes and things like that. But it's the best training that you can ask for because you are watching the best artists that are available.
And absorbing all of that
into
your brain for use later on in your own business, which is always good.
Yeah. Just how to perform on set, how to liaise with people, but most of all of their different techniques with makeup. So I did a lot of training and I do courses every year, but I learned most of my style and my skill has come from working with those two people.
Okay, nice. So I wanted to run through, I guess, for brides listening in, the journey that they go through when they're first looking to book in a makeup artist through to what happens on the day. And you're obviously the best person to speak to for that. So first off, what is the best way for a bride that is on that initial hunt to find a good makeup artist?
I always say that referrals are best. So if you've been to a wedding and you've loved the makeup that the bride and bridesmaids have worn, ask. I find photographers are always the best. The photographers are the very best referrals because they will recommend someone that is going to be ready on time, that has a really nice, they work alongside the makeup artist, so they know what the energy of the person is like on the wedding morning. And they want someone who does incredible makeup so that they're not having to spend hours retouching faces after the wedding. So photographers would always be my number one. Book in your photographer and say, who do you recommend that I consider for makeup? Word
of mouth, I think, is just a given that it's going to be the best form of recommendation, I think. So
definitely.
I think sometimes online it is hard in nowadays to sort of get a bearing on what the person actually looks like versus what their photo is as well. Sometimes that is a little bit hard to come across. So if you can see pictures that you really like on maybe the makeup artist website or Instagram or something, and then back that up with a referral, I think that's probably going to be the best way as a starting point anyway.
Definitely, because a lot of artists, sadly these days, there's so many artists out there and it's very competitive, and a lot of artists get caught up in that competition. So a lot of when you go into their Instagram feed and have a look, a lot of what they're posting isn't their work. They're inspiration images. And they say that their work is unfiltered and unedited. But to a professional artist, you can look and you can see that there's three filters over that. Word of mouth, definitely.
Okay. And so on that note as well, what would be the best way for a bride to find her style? So if she's not sure what she wants, how do you get to know that bride? How do you find out what her style is? What do they send you photos? What's that process?
Yep. So I recommend that all brides have their trial with me 4 to 6 weeks before the wedding. That is because they've locked in everything by then, which makes it easier for me to design something that goes with what they want, but also fits in with the theme of their day, their flowers and everything. I get them to bring me images. So I like to see images of them when they've loved their makeup. It's all equally important for me to see images of them when they have not liked their makeup. And then to pick a celebrity or a Pinterest image or several, it can be cheeks on one, lips on another, brows on another, as much imagery as possible to show me the different things that they like so that we can put together a picture of what it is that they are after.
I think that's probably that point of saying that it's what they dislike or don't like. I've always said, even with styling, I'm like, what don't you like? What do you hate? And that's the most important thing to me, because the like list is massive often. And it's the dislike really paints a bit of a picture of their vision, I think, which obviously then translates to makeup as well. So that's a good point.
Definitely. I have a lot of brides that come to their trial and I'll say, have you done any research on the images you look? No, I'm really easygoing. You're the professional.
All brides are easygoing, aren't
they,
Megan?
You're the professional. And it's one thing to say, yes, I'm the professional, and I can do a makeup on you that I think looks beautiful. It can be textbook perfect. I think you look gorgeous. But it's not, if it's not how you're used to seeing yourself, you're not going to look and feel like you. And that's what's most important for a wedding day, that you feel like yourself, but just like the most,
the best version of yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
And how long does a trial normally take? So they come down to you or to whoever their makeup artist is, and how long would that take?
I allow 90 minutes per trial.
Okay.
That gives me time to... I like to use the trial to get to know my bride a little bit as well, so there's lots of chatting and hopefully laughter as well. I analyse their skin. We spend 10 or 15 minutes talking, going through all of that. What do you like and dislike? And then I start, and then it gives me time to make adjustments as well. And if I can't achieve what they're after in that 90 minutes, which is rare, then we book in a second trial.
And so another thing I wanted to mention was there's quite a trend, I suppose, with that heavy look makeup that's in at the moment. It's becoming quite popular, and of course a lot of my brides are saying that they prefer a more natural vibe, which is something that you specialize in. I wanted to ask, are certain makeup artists tailored or specialize in a certain type of look? And for a bride that wants either or of those looks, is it important for them to find someone that specializes in that? Or is it a matter of don't judge a book or a makeup artist by their cover, and that people are universal in what vibes and looks and styles they can do?
This is a tricky one to answer, because a good makeup artist should be able to do anything. If you're a trained makeup artist, you should be able to be given a picture of any makeup look and be able to do it. So I specialise in the lightweight luminous makeup, but if I'm handed a picture of an Instagram face or a Kardashian look, I can do that. It's just not what most of my brides want. Surprisingly, using less product and coming up with a natural look can take longer and requires more experience than caking makeup on the face does. But it's hard to tell from someone's Instagram feed how much experience they've got. So it comes back to referrals. If you want someone who can do anything, book someone with a lot of experience, not someone who's got on their webpage that they were established in 2014 or 2015.
3 months ago. So, and as you said, I mean, a trial's going to help with that as well. And
it is.
I guess you can show that you can do both styles if you're experienced anyway. And So what sort of costing can brides expect to pay for their makeup? Is there a ballpark to and from?
It's from really low to really high. It really depends on how important makeup is to the makeup artist, how important makeup is to the bride. There are beauticians out there that use one brand of makeup, and it's usually mineral makeup, and they can charge as little as $50. Or then there's your high-end makeup artists who work, at Paris Fashion Week and things like that, and they can be $250 and $300 per person. I'm $150 per person, so I'm kind of mid to high end, and most of the brides that book me like makeup, so they know how they want to look. They want someone that's experienced, and they want to know that you're using good brands and things like that. But I get a lot of brides that inquire, and makeup really isn't that important either, so I direct them to
someone that might be more suited
to their budget.
Which I think is a respectful way to do that as well, because you've got, I suppose, a level and a standard that you need to stick to as well.
Yep.
And I hear that a lot of those products are actually really expensive. People don't realise it's not off-the-shelf Aldi products that you're using. And on that note, what do you use? I mean, without giving me a shopping list of 10,000 things and brushes that you've probably got, is there, and giving away secrets, is there a particular type of product that you like to use?
I don't like to align myself with any one brand or product.
Yep.
So my kit is full of a ton of luxury and professional brands. I carry over 7 ranges and brands of foundation. I like to make sure that I have something for every skin type, skin colour. So when I go to a wedding, my bridal parties notice that I'm not using the same foundation on everyone, and I'm not using the same products on everyone, because it all depends. So that's another thing when you're finding a makeup artist is, make sure that they don't have a kit that's just sponsored by one brand.
Kickback by.
You want someone who's got the best. Every brand specialises, has their strengths and their weaknesses. And you want someone who's got the best of everything in their kit.
I guess that's where that experience comes in, of knowing what is going to look good on one certain person. Well. Yeah. And tailoring that. So now, just cutting to the bride in the lead up to the wedding. So have you got a couple of tips of what a bride might be doing to her skin in that lead up to the wedding to get it sort of optimum look or whatever it might be? And what sort of time frame are we talking that they should start to get their skin prepped?
Okay. I generally say 6 to 12 months, start thinking about your skin. Yeah.
Before you're engaged, start prepping.
Before you're engaged. Just because you don't want to be doing anything close to the wedding that could cause irritation or breakouts.
Okay.
And skincare is fantastic. I spent a fortune on my skin in the lead up to my wedding, and it looked fantastic. I had chemical peels, I had microdermabrasion, I had oxygen facials. It really depends on the person, their budget, and their skin. If you have skin that doesn't break out and is pretty consistent all of the time, you don't need to spend a fortune prepping it. I recommend that you don't change your skincare routine and just keep doing what you're doing. If you have hugely oily skin, I recommend that you start having facials to get that oil under control, because oil is what's going to affect the longevity of your makeup on your wedding day and where it breaks away in different spots. And makeup artists can only do so much. I often say that we work with brushes, not wands. So if you haven't looked after your skin, we can't make it look like you have. And if your skin's too dry, so pretty much, I always say if you have really oily skin or you have really dry skin, start looking 6 months out, speak to a beautician about what you can do just to get it all balanced out for the wedding day.
Okay, to look your best if you can. Stress doesn't help sometimes in the lead up for those mini breakouts and things, but No,
and hormones. I mean, we're women.
Yeah, we are. So on just cutting to, I guess, the wedding morning. So the bride's with her maids and her mum, and she's sort of woken up and she's ready to start the getting ready process. Now, I know from a lot of your past brides that they've told me that you bring a very chilled, calm vibe to the day, which I love. And I think is really important too, because like I say, with the photographer and makeup artist, they're the people that are with the bride almost the entire time, just as much as their bridal party are. So it's really important to pick a personality for those two vendors that you connect with. This is my opinion, as much as them being a really great makeup artist as well. Obviously from chatting to you, and I know you really well now, you're very calm but funny but relaxed but personal personality, and I'll take my cut later from giving you a massive wrap.
Thank you.
My point being, on the wedding morning, take us through that getting ready process. Like, how long does it take? Have you got any tips? What happens on the wedding morning?
So I find that to keep a bridal party relaxed, and myself relaxed for that fact, I like to work back from 90 minutes from the service time is when I'm going to finish my last person. That allows for toasts afterwards. It allows the bride time to relax, spend some time with her bridesmaids, take their time getting ready, and it gives the photographer time to get all of those shots as well that they like to get before the walk down the aisle. So 90 minutes is my work back time, and I allow 45 minutes per person for makeup.
For both bridesmaid and bride?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because the bride has had a trial, so pretty much on the wedding day we're just going in and we know what we're doing. And for the bridesmaids, we've talked about that at the trial as well. So there's very rarely guesswork. And keeping things calm is just, I send a list of do's and don'ts.
Ooh, nice. I love a good checklist, so that's okay.
Several weeks beforehand. I'm often referred to as the scary makeup artist by the bridesmaids before they've met me, because they get sent this list of, you are not to do this, you are not to do that. But on the day, it just keeps things. I just find most people haven't been married a million times before. They don't understand how a wedding morning works and how fast time can slip away and all of the things that have to happen. So I find that if everyone knows what is and isn't expected of them, that they need to be in my seat at a certain time, that they're to have no makeup on their face, they're not to have prepped their skin with anything. The more they know about what they need to do, the more relaxing and calm it can be on the day as well. And as I said, if everything's running on time, I'm relaxed, the photographer's relaxed.
I'm relaxed.
You're relaxed.
Celebrant's relaxed. Everyone's just, it kicks off the wedding in a really nice way by not feeling like you're on the back foot from the get-go. So I think that's really important to having. I love that you allow that buffer time. So if something does go over time plan that you didn't expect, you've got plenty of time to allow for that. So,
there's no panic stations. My energy doesn't change. It's still relaxed, which means they're still relaxed. And I guess that is something else that you should look for when you're looking at a makeup artist. Is there are makeup artists that will run around out there and do 3 or 4 weddings in a day, which means that as much as they're trying to be relaxed, they're also going to be watching their clock and they're very conscious of trying to get to the next place. My policy 99% of the time is that I take 1 wedding per day, unless I have like
a really early morning one and a
really late afternoon one, which happens rarely. So I'm able to get there, and I get there and I look at weddings. Weddings to me, and this is why I love doing them, it's just a fun morning with fun people. Everyone's on a high. There's no egos. I'm usually in a beautiful location, working alongside fun people. There's no reason for it to be a stressful
good environment to be in.
It's a beautiful environment to be in, and because I don't have to be anywhere afterwards, I can relax. So if it does run half an hour behind because something has happened out of anyone's control, it's no issue.
Roll with it.
You just roll with it.
That's good. Yeah. And so I guess leads me to my next question, which was, so if there is a large bridal party, do you recommend having a few makeup artists, or what is the process if there's a larger bridal party versus a smaller bridal party? Yep.
I'm quite protective of my brand, and I haven't found an assistant yet on the South Coast. I moved from Sydney 18 months ago. So I like to do everyone where I can. That often depends on timing. My makeup will last, if you read my testimonials, I can put makeup on at 7 o'clock in the morning and they're still dancing at 3 o'clock the next morning, and it's, or they wake up the next day and wear it to their brunch. I do not recommend this, but yes, brides have been known to do it. So starting earlier in the morning isn't an issue, and most brides will find that they're awake.
Oh, yes.
They think they're going to sleep in until 10 o'clock. It's not going to happen. No. So I like to do as many of the people as I can. Often if the parties are too big, I will recommend that I do the bride and the bridesmaids, and they contract another artist, which I can recommend to take care of family and friends.
Mother of the bride, or if
and
there's
aunties
12
and
bridesmaids
cousins
for some reason or something insane, they can do the less like ones.
And if that does happen, if it's the actual bridal party, and because you like there to be a consistent look, so if they do hire another makeup artist, I'm always happy to run my eyes over it at the end, just to make sure that everyone is going out looking at the
schmick.
The same level.
Wow, you've been so helpful. I've covered, I think, all of my questions and stuff that I wanted to chat to you about. So thank you so much for coming on for our podcast today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. So if people want to get in touch with Makeup by Megan, what is the best way to reach you?
Head to my website and fill out a contact form with all of your wedding details. And I get back to everyone within 24 hours, even if it's just to say I'm caught up with editorials for the next 3 days. It'll be a couple of days, but I get back to you either way, almost straight away.
And on Instagram, you're just at Makeup by Megan?
I am. Yep. Instagram, I'm at Makeup by Megan. Actually, all of my social media handles are at Makeup by Megan, and you'll recognise me for my lime green logo.
Branding. Love it.
Obsessed with lime green.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And we look forward to working with you this season.
Same here.
Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Make sure you jump onto our social media pages for more hints, tips and inspo. You can find us on Instagram at Wed Event Creators, on Pinterest at Wed Event Creator, and also via our Facebook page. And please don't forget to visit our website weddingandeventcreators.com.au to see our video tutorials and helpful blog posts.